Good morning, Spartans. Happy Wednesday, September 20th. Again, you guys know that I'm out of the building. You can see the agenda today. We are going to talk about some information that you guys read for last night. You guys did questions 1 through 3 on the chapter 11 reading guide. So I'm going to talk about that information, give you a little bit more, hopefully give you a little bit more narrative so you can understand it. And then whatever time we have left, you guys are reading chapter 11 again, looking for questions and answers to questions rather 4 through 16. This is what we will go through tomorrow. All right. So both today and tomorrow, Thursday, there'll be a little video for you to watch where I'm kind of supporting your understanding of what you're reading. Thursday's homework as well as Friday's task. There will be no video for your week 3 checks, right? This is pretty straightforward. You have your deposit, you pay your bills, you update your ledger, you update your budget sheet, bingo, bango. You're in and out. Remember, Friday is a hybrid day. So if you get your checks done early, or if you want to stay home and do your checks Friday morning, I just need them by the end of the day, Friday. So chapter 11 is about investments. And before I get to investments, I need to kind of explain this abstract concept regarding money. Now, most students that I've had understand or believe money is just this amount of cash, amount of value, amount of power that is more or less singular in time, right? You have money today. All that gives you, all the money you have today is what you have today. There is no single thought, there is no appreciation for what that money today could be tomorrow. We think of money in singular form, present value. In this class, we need to start developing this understanding that there are 2 types of money: present money and future money. The money you have today is your present money. The money you have tomorrow is your future money. Present money, future money. Your future money, the money that you have tomorrow, next week, next year, next month, that is determined by the amount of money that you have today. We need to make sure that we are not under this belief that you're always going to have a job, you're always going to have a good paying job, you're always going to have enough money in the future based on what you think is going to happen down the road. That can lead you up for financial catastrophe. We have to understand that there are 2 forms of money: present money and future money. And the only way to have money in the future is to make sure you're taking care of the cash that you have right now. That is in your control. That is under your guidance. You cannot believe that you are going to have money in the future because you are always going to be working. That doesn't turn out to be the case. Present money, future money, your future of money is based on what you have today. So we got to make sure we're making the right choices here. First thing I want to talk about when it comes to your present money and your future money is this idea of paying yourself first. Again, if your future money is dependent on what you're doing with the cash that you have right now, then we need to make sure that we are making the right choices with the money that we have right now, and thus we have paying ourselves first. Before we worry about paying bills, before we worry about buying the newest phone, before we worry about buying the newest iPod or cars or whatever it is, you have to pay yourself first. The concept of paying yourself first is a very complex way of saying you have to save. You have to save your money today so you have money tomorrow. So you have money for the future. There's a lot of competing thoughts about how much money people should be saving, but most financial advisors are going to say that you should be saving half of everything that you make, which means if you make $100,000 a year from your job, you should only be spending $50,000 over the course of the year for your job. You should be saving half of your money. Your total living expenses, food, rent, cars, gas, whatever it is, your expenses should not exceed 50% of your income. You should be saving half of it. If you were to go and look at your budget sheets, and again, this is why we're doing the budget sheets. If you were going and looking at your budget sheets, I'm pretty sure you could add up how much money you spent this past week and divide it by the income that you earned last week, and you're well past 50%. Something to consider. Now, paying yourself first is not as easy as just simply saying saving money. We need to do things with our savings. We need to put our money to work for us so we can generate more money in the future. We need to be making investments. We can't just leave our money in a shoebox under our bed. We can't stuff it in the mattress. We certainly can't leave it in the freezer. We need to be putting our money to work. Most of you, I would imagine, have a savings account where you are earning interest, right? That is a form of investment. You've given your money to the bank. While it is sitting there, the bank is using your money to make more money. And the bank is then cutting you in on the money they make from giving out your money to somebody else. What we are going to start doing next week is looking at investing our money in assets, buying things that generate value and income. I'm not talking about buying stuffed animals. I'm not talking about buying gold coins. I'm not talking about buying, classic sports cars. Those things don't generate income while you own them. You could have $1 million gold coin collection, but that $1 million gold coin collection isn't generating any money for you while it sits in your dusty closet. You only make money when you sell it, if you can find a buyer. What I'm talking about is investing in assets that will pay you while you own it, in addition to increasing in value when you sell it. Case in point, here's a look at a good 70 years, good 80 years, 75, 76 years of the US GDP. GDP is gross domestic product. It is a total value. There's a total value of every single job and company in the United States. You can see that since 1946, there's probably 80 years of growth, expansion in the United States economy, the United States GDP. It has increased from the previous year. While about 20%, there's been a recession or a decrease. 80% growth, 20% recession. Even if there was a recession, typically the recessions were short-lived, and then we entered into a period of growth again. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about investing in assets that will increase in value and generate income. We're talking about investing in corporations, businesses in the United States, who we have a proven track record continue to increase and grow in wealth. And if they are increasing and growing in wealth and you've invested in them, they cut you in on those profits. Some of you know about 403Bs or 401Ks or IRAs. These are retirement accounts, and we will eventually get to them. But I'm going to open this up here so you can see it. Okay. I have two examples here for you. We've got, two people each making $60,000 a year. In these two examples, they're investing two different amounts of money, right? They are saving some money and then they are investing part of that money. So a person who makes $60,000 a year, starting at age 18 and retires at 70, which is more or less the current, is about to be the current age of retirement, but at least it will be for you guys. They're saving 5% a year. So 5% of 60,000, 60,000 and 10% is 6,000. So they're saving $3,000 a year. They're saving a couple $100 a month. They're saving a few dollars a day. They're probably saving about a cup of cappuccino from Starbucks each day. Putting away $3,000 over a year, over $3,000 per year over the course of, 52 years between age 18 and age 72, making a modest return of 7% growth each year, would generate $1.4 million in savings for this person to be paid out. Same person making $60,000 a year, putting away 10%, so $6,000 a year. So that's $500 a month. Right, this dude is $250 a month. This one over here is $500 a month. Again, from age 18 to age 70, right? 52 years, making the same annual rate of return or growth of 7%. This person would have $2.9 million saved up by the time they retire. You have present money and you have future money. Your future money is dependent on what you do with the cash that you have right now. You know, I told you guys at the beginning of the trimester, I can't promise everyone to be rich. I can't give you the tools that will guarantee that you would be rich, but I can tell you exactly how to make a couple $1,000,000 in your lifetime. I think we can all afford to figure out how to save $125 a week or $250 a month or $250 a pay period, sorry, 2 weeks or $500 a month. This is really not that difficult. But again, we got to pay ourselves first. If you want to have millions of dollars, then stop spending your money on a bunch of crap and start saving some of it. It's really, really straightforward. Your future income, your prosperity later on in life is all dependent on what you are doing with your money right now. You have to put it to work. Now, I'm not saying you take 50% of your income and just invest the whole thing. That is not wise financial sense either, but we should be investing part of it. You should be putting at least part of your money to work. All right. And we need to be investing in things that generate both income while you own it and income when you sell it. We call this income return. We should be getting paid while we own things. We should be investing in assets that pay us interest. We'll get into bonds. Later on, we'll get into preferred stocks. I've already talked to you about savings accounts and CDs. All of these things pay interest. But if you're investing in companies, they pay dividends. If we look at the word dividend, if we look at the first handful of letters here, it's divide. When you get a dividend, that means the company is cutting you in on a portion of their proceeds, of their profits. You can get a dividend check monthly, quarterly, annually, semi-annually. It is all dependent on what the company wants to do. But it generates income while you own it. That's what we want. We don't want to buy something, put it in a closet, and hope we can make money on it later on. All right, here's the Yum Corporation. We can see how the Yum Corporation has more or less continued to grow over the past 5 years, right? We can see them starting in about 2018, 2017, they grow, they fall. That happens, right? 20%. 20% of the years that we have money invested, there's going to be a loser in there. But then it goes right back to the growth again, right? Here's 5 years, there's one bad year, 20%. But then it comes right back. They always continue to increase in value. The dividend, $2.28, but that's per share. You have 100 shares, that's $228. You have 1,000 shares, that's $2,228. Check that, that's $2,280. Per month, per year, semi-annually, quarterly. I mean, that's extra money coming in for you that you guys can reinvest. Invest in something else, invest in more. But we got to be putting our money to work. Not to mention, I do want to talk about capital gains, which is a little bit ahead of where you guys read. While you own stock, I mean, sometimes you're going to be paid interest for it. Sometimes you'll get dividends for it, but you're also going to experience capital gains. What you buy the stock for here, this is at, what is that? Okay, 130. Open this up here and see how much money this was for. This stock is at about $76, $78. And if you own it all the way through 2022, or it's almost $120, I mean, you've appreciated a capital gains of $50. Capital gains is the increased value of the asset whilst owning it. You could make $50 a share if you chose to sell that stock. There's a clear difference between speculation and investing. Speculation is, speculation is this concept of buying assets that you think you will make money on in the future. But you making money on the future is solely based on the supply and demand of that asset. Think baseball cards. You know, you could have a Babe Ruth rookie baseball card from 100 years ago, and you might think it's 5 million, 6 million, 10 million, you know, and historians might say it's worth millions of dollars, but it's only worth millions of dollars if you have someone to pay the price. It is not a guarantee. There's a lot of volatility with it. I've seen people do it with coins. I've seen people do it with little, I mean, your grandparents might have these little collectibles laying around and these things are priceless. Yeah, if you got a buyer. There is no guarantee that these things are going to sell. It's just like the gold miners, the 49ers that went to California. There's no guarantee they're going to find gold. There's no guarantee they're going to get paid for it. Versus if you were to invest in the, United States economy, here it is. Like here is the United States economy going back to the beginning of the 20th century through today. It goes up, it increases. There may be some bad years in there, but the United States economy is guaranteed to increase. So I don't know why we'd be investing in something where our income return is based on whether or not you can find a buyer. Doesn't make any sense to me. There is a section in your book that you probably read about called derivative securities, and I was going to talk about how this is a new form of speculation, but this is a relatively difficult concept to understand. So I'm actually going to save this for class on Monday, all right? And I'm going to stop here because you're going to read this next section about bonds and stocks, and that's what we'll come back together tomorrow. Just to review, the idea of paying yourself first. You should be taking some of the money that you have right now and saving it. From those savings, part of it should be invested. We should be investing in assets that are going to do we're going to do two things. Generate income while we own it and generate value while we own it. This is a sure way to make sure that we are increasing our money for the future. And again, that income return can come in a couple of different ways. Again, the interest that it pays, the dividends that it pays, and then obviously the capital gains that I just explained, like the increased value while it's in your possession. All right, you guys have questions 4 through 16. We'll do a brief overview tomorrow of stocks and bonds. I'll run through some risk with you, right? Nothing is guaranteed, but we'll talk risk, allocation, and diversification, and then whatever time after that tomorrow is for your week 2 checks. Check that week 3 checks, deposits, and ledgers. So we're done here. Hopefully you got the notes down and you got the next section of questions to go through. Hope you're all doing well. I'll see you guys virtually tomorrow in class. Go Spartans.